Okay, let us start inshallah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسوله الكريم وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي اللهم أخرجنا من ظلمات الوهم وأكرمنا بنور الفهم وافتح علينا بمعرفة العلم وسهل أخلاقنا بالحلم واجعلنا ممن يستمعون القول فيتبعون أحسنه اللهم اجعل أعمالنا خالصة لوجهك ولا تجعل فيها حظا لغيرك وصل اللهم على سيدنا ونبينا ومولانا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين والحمد لله رب العالمين. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'm going to add that everyone's well, that you've had a good week. Alhamdulillah, by the grace of Allah. Right, so again, a reminder, please feel free to participate. I've allowed you to unmute yourselves and you can comment, obviously, and all of those things. So yes, feel free to participate, inshallah. What we are going to be doing now is, as we've been doing all the time, we busy with our reader first, and you were supposed to have started in the group work last week was page number 22, Amam al-Malik, and then to continue that chapter for homework. So we'll go through that now, inshallah, work through any questions that you may have in relation to the structure, etc. And then we'll move on to our Quran section with Surah Al-Alaq. Iqra, inshallah. We'll do that, bi'idhnillah ta'ala. Right. Are there any questions or anything before we get into that? Otherwise, we'll start to read. Right. Okay, I'm going to start reading then. So what you can do is, as I read, you can read with me. You know, ideally, I would be able to hear people reading as well, so that I can hear that when there's mistakes in the reading, and then rectify that. Because I mean, pronouncing the language is part of learning the language. So unfortunately, we can't do that, because if we have everybody's mics on, then things are going to go crazy. Yeah? So still let's not lose the opportunity completely. Read, and if you have somebody with you, close to you, whatever, they can check that your reading sounds the same like my reading. Right, so let's get into it. Bismillah. Amam al-Maliki. Amam al-Maliki means in front of the king. Line 1. وكان في البلد ملك كبير جدا وظالم جدا. There was in the city or town a very great king, but also and very oppressive. وكان الناس يسجدون للملك. If at any point you have a question, or you want to ask a question about your translation or something like that, like I said, feel free to ask. وكان الناس يسجدون للملك. The people used to prostrate to the king, or the people used to bow down and prostrate to the king. وسمع الملك أن إبراهيم يسجد لله ولا يسجد لأحد. The king heard that Ibrahim prostrated to Allah and he did not prostrate to anyone. فغضب الملك وطلب إبراهيم. So the king became angry and he requested for Ibrahim, or he sought Ibrahim. وجاء إبراهيم وكان إبراهيم لا يخاف أحدا إلا الله. Ibrahim came, and Ibrahim did not fear anyone except Allah. قال الملك من ربك يا إبراهيم. It's actually من ربك من ربك يا إبراهيم. Who is your Lord, O Ibrahim? But like if you were to read that with tajweed, and if it's not Quran, you don't have to. Actually, you don't read. When something's not Quran, you don't read it with tajweed. Tajweed is only for the Quran. But then you would say, Mar Rabbuka. Yes. قال الملك من ربك يا إبراهيم. The king said, who is your Lord, O Ibrahim? قال إبراهيم. Ibrahim said, ربي الله. My Lord is Allah. قال الملك. The king said, من الله يا إبراهيم. من الله. Who is Allah, O Ibrahim? قال إبراهيم الذي يحيي ويميت. Ibrahim said, the one who gives life and causes death. قال الملك أنا أحيي وأميت. The king said, I give life and I cause death. ودعا الملك رجلا وقتله ودعا رجلا آخر وتركه وقال. The king called a man and killed him, and he called another man and left him. And he said, أنا أحيي وأميت قتلت رجلا وتركت رجلا. I give life and I cause death. I killed a man and I left a man. That's what we are supposed to do for homework, right? Just up until then. Are you guys here? Got unmute. Oh, sorry. Now you can unmute.
Hello.
Yes, Maulana, we're
Yes,
here.
Maulana.
Okay, just until then. Right, and now tell me, are there any questions sorry about that, I thought you guys could unmute yourselves, but are there any questions in relation to the first part of that chapter? There were some things that I thought, well, if I was a teen first year, I'd probably be asking these things. Some of them you may know already. Like, for example, there were times when we were using present tense verbs and past tense verbs together, like here, وَكَانَ النَّاسُ يَسْجُدُونَ لِلْمَلِكِ. We did come across it before, but just to jog your memory, we have kana, past tense was, yasjuduna, are, the people were, are prostrating. We don't translate it like that. We say we translate it as used to. The people used to translate to the king. And then again, sami'a, and then yasjudu, and yasjudu. So that's a past tense, but then later in the sentence we have some present tense verbs. Again, that shows you that it's past still, but it's continuous. Right? So the king heard that Ibrahim prostrates to Allah, and he does not prostrate to other or to anyone.
Maulana, Assalamualaikum. Just to come, what's the indicator for that again? How would you is it that leaf or something? What is the indicator for that? That tells you that you must read the present tense in that way, like in a continuous way.
You understand it like that? Okay. So what indicates that to you is that earlier in the sentence, it starts off with the past tense. So you're already reading the sentence in the past tense, right? But now you have a present tense verb in that past tense. So then you understand it as continuing. So what indicates to you that you must understand this present tense as past but continuous? The fact that there's a past tense at the beginning of the sentence. Like you can see here, وَكَانَ Kana past is at the beginning, and then later in the sentence we have yasjudu, which is present. Here we have yasjudu. Sorry, we have yasjudu over here, la yasjudu over here. But earlier in the sentence we have this past tense. Let's see another one. وَجَاءَ إِبْرَاهِيمُ وَكَانَ إِبْرَاهِيمُ لَا يَخَافُ. Present, but it's preceded by that past tense. Right? So does that clear it up?
Yes, Maulana. Shukran. Shukran. That is perfect. Shukran.
Let's see anything else I would have asked. Yeah, this word, just to notify you, the word here is akhar. Akhar. Akhar means what? What does akhar mean?
Other.
Other, right? Why I'm asking you that, because you mustn't confuse it with the word akhir. Akhir means lost. Akhar, other, akhir, lost. Don't confuse those two. Okay, let's carry on with this chapter. Okay, what we can actually do is, we have some time. If there are no further questions, then what we'll do is, inshallah, we can go into our breakaway groups now, inshallah. Then hopefully we'll have more time to spend on our Quran session, inshallah. So, any questions? No? Okay, then what I want you to do in the breakaway session is, again, let's see how far we can get. These are short sentences. There's some of them, the last ones are short. The earlier ones are long. Read, translate. Each person get a chance to read, translate, and try and help each other work through any questions that you have about about the sentences. The reason that we want you guys to help each other work, so somebody makes a mistake, doesn't understand something, somebody else in the group explains it, is, when you explain something, you actually solidify the understanding of that thing for yourself. And sometimes when you hear another person, as opposed to me explaining all the time, when you hear another person explain it to you, maybe if you're the person not explaining but being explained to, then sometimes getting an explanation from another source in a slightly different manner, it also aids your understanding. So this is what we're trying to do here, help each other, learning together. And the hadith as well, Allahu fi awni al-abdi ma kana al-abdu fi awni akhihi. Allah helps the slave as long as he helps his brother. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us all through this communal type of learning, inshallah. Can we break away into our groups?
Wat is tatakhayyaru?
Oh, I say thinking.
Okay, I think we're back. Alhamdulillah. All right, so you guys had some time in your groups. Are there any questions before we move on?
Yeah, Maulana, I just want to fatakhayyaru. Fatakhayyaru. Can you tell me what is the meaning of that? Because I was looking for it. No.
فتحير الملك وسكت. That one? In line number 17?
Yes, that one, yes.
Okay. The root letters there, it's a verb form that we haven't yet covered, but it is a verb. The root letters are ha, ya, ra, right? And it means to be confused or to become confused. To become confused. Yeah, puzzled, baffled. That's what it means. That ta at the beginning, just let you know, that ta, this is not a present tense verb, it's a past tense verb. I'm just pointing that out because it looks very much like it might be a present tense verb, but it's not. It's a past tense verb. Tahayyara means to become or confused or perplexed or baffled. Yeah.
Malana, just a question on that same verb, please. What exactly is that? I know we'll learn it eventually, but is that that verb form doing?
It's a reflexive. Oftentimes it has a meaning. It gives a reflexive meaning of the first root, or sometimes it also has the same meaning as the first root. Have you guys done any extra relative verbs? Like, did you learn fa'ala? Did you ever learn that before?
I don't think so, Malana, unless I wasn't paying attention.
Okay, not
No,
it.
Malana.
No. Okay, so you'll, as soon as you get there, inshallah, whether it's me or Mawlana Khalil that teaches it to you, then we will explain to you what all of the functions of the different verb forms are, inshallah.
Malana, I just want to confirm the meaning, right? We were debating kind of. فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ يَأْتِي بِالشَّمْسِ مِنَ الْمَشْرِقِ. So Allah brings the sun from the east. So the next part is فَأْتِي بِهَا مِنَ الْمَغْرِبِ. The easy commanding is telling him, you bring it from the west. So what means?
Perfect, correct. That's exactly what it is. The verb is ata ya'ti, and the amr will then be i'ti. This one is strange because there's a hamza at the beginning, right? And then there's a weak letter at the end. So now, usually when the verb is ata ya'ti. Now, when we change a word into a command, then what we do is we usually put a, if I take this word and I make it into a command, usually we put a hamza at the beginning, right? We keep the rest the same. Right? But now, and we put a sukoon at the end, isn't it? If I take if'al, I put a hamza at the beginning. Sorry. Yeah, I think it was funny. So now the problem is, if we're going to put a sukoon at the end, we're going to have two sukoons there. So instead of doing that, what we do is we just drop this letter away completely. And then I have i'ti. But also, i'ti is not a nice thing to say. And also, when we, this hamza at the beginning of a amr, if we have a fa or something before it, then we just read right through it. So that's why we say fa'ati. You see, that's what we have there. Fa'ati. So and yeah, that's basically what happens. When you have a verb with a weak letter at the end, instead of putting a sukoon on it, because it's already just a pulling sound, you just cancel that weak letter away completely. And when with a hamza at the beginning, if you can read right through it, you just read right through that hamza. Is that understood?
I think so.
Can I, Mullah Muhammad Kar just called me. He's supposed to be in the other class. Can I just take a moment and call him, please? Okay, they're having a bit of a problem there. Just a second. I need to sort out something in the other class. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Can you guys hear me again? Sorry about that, man. There was a bit of a mishap in the other class, and I'm the host of that meeting, so I just need to go sort out something there. I think we're back now. So I explained the fa'ati thing. Are there any other questions? Or you need further clarity on something? Bismillah.
The verbs in that second line are rada, and then yafhama, and then there's again yafhama. What tense are those? I wasn't sure.
Okay. Arada is past tense, yafhama is present tense, and the second one is also present tense. But there's something funny happening over there because of the an, right? And it's going to take me quite a while to explain that to you if I do that now. So can we leave that for next week, inshallah?
Okay, we made it past tense.
Good.
So we made it that the king understood and his people understood.
Okay, I'll explain to you give you a clearer explanation of that next week, inshallah. Right, so we'll do that next week, inshallah. I think what we do now is let's move to our Quran session, inshallah, so that we at least have a few minutes over there. I had quite a bit that I wanted to discuss in that first. Yeah, so let's do that, inshallah. If you guys have any more questions on the same section, we'll go through it at the beginning of the next lesson, and then we'll move on from there. So what I want you to do for our homework is page number 25. Right, finish that page and page number 25, inshallah. Right, so I'm switching to the Quran section now, inshallah. Okay, we أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على رسوله الكريم وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. We started last week with Surah Al-Alaq, and I think we did like the first verse. We'll continue from there. I'm just going to read